Okay, and here's our last interest problem. And interest problems are a lot like mixture problems because it's like you're mixing money at different rates together. So you invest some money at 14% and 16 more than 4 times that amount at 7%. How much is invested at each rate if saying receives 771.89 in interest after 1 year? Okay, so here's what I don't know is how much what's the principal at each amount. So let's make a chart. I know that the principal times the rate times time equals interest. Okay. And I've got 2 accounts that I'm dealing with here. You've got account number 1 and account number 2. Okay, so the first account is a 14% interest yield, so I'll write that here. Second account is a 7% interest yield, so I'll write that as a decimal. That's 0.07. Of course, I'm dealing with just 1 year here. And also, I don't know how much is invested at each rate. So I'll say let's let X be the amount invested at 14% and Y be the amount invested at 7%. Okay, going across here, you've got 0.14X to be the interest you earn from the first account, and 0.07Y is the interest you earn from the second account. Alright, so now let's look at the problem and see how these quantities are related. So 65 more than 4 times that amount at the 7%. So the amount invested at 7%, which is probably a safer, less risky account, it's $65. So that amount is equal to $65 more than 4 times the amount at 14. So you do 4 times X plus 65. $65 more than 4 times that amount. This is how much he invested at the 7%. So there's my first equation. My second equation tells me, or I get from the fact that he received $771.89 total interest. So that's the interest from the first account plus the interest at the second account should total up to $771.89. So 0.14X plus 0.07Y equals 771.89. So here's my 2 equations. The first equation already solves for Y, so I think that I'll use substitution. So wherever I see a Y in the second equation, I'm going to replace it with 4X plus 65. So here's my Y. I'll go ahead and replace Y with 4X plus 65. So 0.14X plus 0.07 times this whole expression, 4X plus 65. And that equals 771.89. Alright, now I just have one variable. I can go ahead and simplify and solve. So 0.14X plus 0.07 times 4X, that'll be 0.28X plus 0.07 times 65. I need my calculator for that. That's 455. And that equals 771.89. Alright, adding my like terms together, what do I get? 0.42X plus 455. Let's subtract 455 from both sides. Over here I get 0.42X equals, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator, 771.89 minus 455, 767.34. Last step, dividing by 0.42, both sides. You get 1,827. Okay, so after you get a solution for x, we go back up and see, well, what did x represent? X was the amount invested at 14%. So let's write $1,827 invested at 14%. And the rest of it, I'll use this equation to figure out what y is, right? Y equals 4 times that amount plus 65. So that's 4 times 1827 plus 65. I get that y is equal to 7,373. So that'll be $7,373 invested at 7%. Because that's what y was. The amount invested is 7%. So again, just like those mixing problems, here I'm like mixing money together. And instead of figuring out the amount of pure substance here, it's like figuring out how much interest you're earning after a year.